What if I told you that Berberine, the supplement your auntie just recommended, the one being called nature's Ozempic, loses 15 times less weight than the real thing? Not little less, 15 times less. And that for certain people who are probably in your family right now is not only ineffective, it's actually dangerous. So I'm going to show you exactly why by cutting through the noise. I'm going to give you an alternative as well. So stick with me. So what am I talking about, right? Berberine, the reason people get confused about Berberine is not stupidity. It's just marketing language, right? When someone says it improves your metabolism, it helps with blood sugar, it supports fat loss, it sounds like Ozempic, but the mechanism is completely different. I want to give it a name so that it sticks, right? I call it the metabolic switch trap. Okay, I just made that up. But here's what that means. The weight loss injections, Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, these are GLP-1 receptor agonists. They mimic a hormone your body already makes. They go to your brain and they say, we are full, stop eating. And they slow down how fast your stomach empties, so you stay full for hours. You stop thinking about food. That food noise, the constant craving, gone. That's why the weight loss is so dramatic. So Berberine does not do that. Berberine works through a completely different pathway. It activates an enzyme called AMPK. Think of AMPK as a metabolic switch almost inside your cells. So when it's activated, your cells get better at using energy, your insulin sensitivity improves, and your liver processes blood sugar more efficiently. And that's genuinely useful. That's real biology. But here's a metabolic switch trap. Activating a metabolic switch in your cells is not the same as turning off hunger in your brain. People don't realize this. So think of your body like a busy restaurant almost. The GLP-1 injection is the manager standing at the front door and at the chef station bit, where the cooking gets done, telling the brain the kitchen's closed, so no more orders, controlling the whole operation. Berberine is the electrician in the basement, tweaking the fuse box, improving how the wiring runs, doing genuinely useful work, but he is not the manager. He is not stopping the orders from coming in. He is not, touching the hunger signals. So if you're expecting that feeling, the one where you genuinely forget to eat lunch, Berberine is not going to give that to you, and that is the trap. Now you're probably thinking, okay, but does it work at all? Fair question. Let's look at the numbers. Clinical trials on semaglutide, Wegovy, the weight management version, shows an average of 14.9% body weight loss at around 68 weeks. That data comes from the step 1 trial, large, long, rigorous, right? So if you weigh over, let's say around about 90 kilos, that's over 13 kilos gone. Now look at Berberine. According to a meta-analysis reviewed by clinical pharmacy sources, Berberine reduced BMI by about 0.29 kg per square meter and waist circumference by around 2.5 centimeters. One analysis did show no significant change in total body weight at all. So UCLA Health's senior clinical dietitian put it plainly, the amount of weight you can lose on Berberine is unclear and the evidence is what we call inconclusive. So another way to frame it, if the injections are a bullet train, Berberine is a man on a bicycle. Both are technically moving, but one is not a replacement for the other. And this matters more for South Asian bodies specifically. We carry more visceral fat at lower body weights than other populations. Every Instagram influencer and their goldfish has told you this. And that stubborn belly fat, the fat that sits here in your organs, it's metabolically active. It's what drives insulin resistance, and it's not going anywhere on 0.29 points of BMI change. Here's the thing though, when you see an influencer say they lost 8 kilos in Berberine, look closer. They're eating around 1200 calories or so. They're also walking every day. They're also sleeping better because they finally feel like they're doing something right. The pill is getting the credit. The habits are actually what's doing the work, but it's not a coincidence. It's a sales strategy. They're not going to show you or tell you any of that. But that's not even the part that concerns me the most, right? Let's talk about what Berberine actually does to a lot of people's bodies in the first few weeks. Now, you've probably seen this on TikTok. People saying they feel so light, their stomach is flat, and they're not like bloated anymore. And here's what's actually happening. They've got diarrhea. Berberine is hard on the gut. Cramping, bloating, nausea, loose stools, the whole shebang. This is one of the most consistently reported side effects across every clinical source. Pharmacy level clinical guidance flags it. People are mistaking an upset stomach for feeling full and feeling sick. And feeling sick is not the same as feeling satisfied. It's like solving your hunger problems by getting mild food poisoning, right? Technically you're not eating, but it's the quality of the life that you're going for. And the thing is, some people push through this. They take higher doses, trying to force a bigger result, assuming that because it's natural, it must be harmless. And natural does not mean harmless. Paracetamol is synthetic. Arsenic is natural. Berberine is a bioactive compound and it needs to be treated like one. So pay attention, because this is where Berberine goes from overhyped to genuinely risky for a lot of families in our community. So Berberine interacts with a system in your liver called CYP enzymes. So specifically CYP3A4 and CYP2D6. We have just shown off here, right? So don't worry about any of that. Basically what they are is like they're your liver's kind of cleaning crew almost, is the best way to look at it. So their job is to process and clear medications from your bloodstream. So when Berberine interferes with these enzymes, it slows that clearing process down. The result is that medicines start building up in your blood at levels higher than intended. So clinical pharmacy guidance is clear on this. If you're on diabetes meds, blood pressure meds, blood thinners, cholesterol medications, or transplant plant drugs, berberine can amplify those drugs to potentially toxic levels. So speak to your doctor if you're unsure about any of this. Now think about who in our South Asian families is typically on those medications. You know, our parents, aunties, uncles, the people who are most likely to receive a WhatsApp forward saying this is natural, this is safe, just read a dua over it and you'll be fine. No, if your parents are on things like statins and metformin and berberine, is not a harmless add-on. It is a pharmacological interaction waiting to happen. This is why doctors exist. Always consult with them if unsure. Now at this point you're probably thinking, so what do I actually do? This is exactly where we're going, and this might annoy you, but it may excite you at the same time. Most people stop at the warnings and feel deflated. But here's where it gets genuinely useful, because the answer is not berberine and the answer is not a £2,000 injection. The answer is something no one wants to sell you anymore because no one can charge you for it, right? And I call it the boring basic stack. Made that up again. These are the 4 levers the actual research shows moves fat loss of South Asian bodies, not supplements, not hacks, not levers, whatever the hell you want to say. Now the first is steps. 60 minutes of walking 6 days a week, broken up however it fits your life. Now I just use that because it's like a fancy way of remembering it. Morning walk, lunch walk, evening walk, it does not matter. This is the 666 protocol. Yeah, no, it's kind of spooky. And it does improve insulin sensitivity in a way that no pill currently replicates at this level of consistency. The second one is protein first. And I bang on and on about this. Most South Asian diets are carb heavy by default. And this is not a problem by itself, but if your protein is low, you're losing muscle alongside fat every time you go into a deficit. And the research says 1.2 to around 1.6 grams of protein per kilo is what you're looking for. So you know your dal, although that's an okay source, eggs, chicken, paneer, Greek yogurt, every meal, protein first. So the bulk of your food should be protein. The third one is resistance training, and this is the biggest cheat code. I genuinely baffles me why people still don't pay attention to this. I think UCLA Health's own senior dietitian makes a point that, you know, AMPK activation, the same pathway berberine is targeting, stimulated powerfully and reliably by resistance training twice a week. Even once a week will work wonders for you, okay? You do not need the gym. It improves insulin sensitivity better than any supplement on the market, and unlike berberine, it does not interact with your parents' heart medication. The fourth one is sleep, and again, Asians wear this like a badge of honor. You know, I need to power through my day. But what you don't realize is one night of bad sleep spikes ghrelin, which is like the hunger hormone, and it crashes leptin, which is your fullness hormone. And that's not like your willpower failing. It's basically biology responding to sleep debt. And that's where most people navigate through life hungry and never full. They just pick on things throughout the day. So fix the sleep and the cravings reduce. It is that direct. None of these 4 levers are exciting. None of them have got like a viral nickname. You know, it's boring, it's basic, and it's what actually works. Take it or leave it. So here's a verdict. Is berberine useless? No. For metabolic health, blood sugar, and lipid management, there is genuine early evidence. It has a role as a supplement, but it is not nature's Ozempic, and that is a marketing phrase, not a clinical one. The mechanism is completely different. The results are different, and the risks are real enough that your family needs to know about them before they order a 3-month supply from Amazon. So stop chasing the hype train. The boring basic stack costs you nothing but consistency, and consistency is the only thing that's going to work. Supplements can't do that for you. Now, if this video helped you cut through the noise, you know, consider subscribing if you found it useful. Please do me a favor, right? Take one person in your family, okay, you know that one that always forwards every WhatsApp health message without reading past the headline. Share that with them. Hopefully this can educate them. I'll see you in the next video.